We hope to overcome, because that's what the planning we've been doing. The last thing that we want to do is to make sure that those who are deceased and the numbers keep on increasing. In this morning we were at 64. Now, because the people are still being excavated from the mudslides, we are at 82, and the number keeps on increasing. And we want to make sure that we bury those urgently. And the Department of Civil Protection is ready once we can pass and go to those areas where the people are being kept, the deceased are being kept. We can assist them as government. We give them assistance of transportation, of coffins, and some food to bereaved families. So that's what our priorities right now. But also, we have been getting a lot of information about the situation in the area from people who have been affected, or people who are in those areas, through cell phones, through WhatsApp, through all the media. But unfortunately, because the communication system relies on electricity, those communication systems are now out. And so electricity is also our major priority area. And we have the people from ZETDC who have given us information about the power lines that have been disrupted, affecting Chipinge, affecting Chimanimani, but it's also affecting all the institutions. Some of the institutions are schools where children are in boarding school. They are affecting the hospitals where there are some patients there. And one of the things that we want to do is to look for generators to go and help. So ultimately, we have seen the challenge, and we think that government will be able to mobilize resources. There are people who have given us fuel. There are people who are donating their dozers so that we can go and use the dozers and other equipment to excavate those who have been buried by the mudslides. So tomorrow and going forward, we think that we will be able to do it. The helicopter system, which has been affected, I think will start to work also as the weather recedes from the pressure that was here centered in Chimanimani.
All right, just briefly, Honorable Minister, looking at the kind of aid package that we are looking at for this whole disaster, how much money are you looking as assistance to help circumvent the situation that the nation is facing?
We are still quantifying. There are immediate things that we need to do, as I said. Then we have short-term, medium-term, long-term. The infrastructure that has been damaged, obviously the roads and others, will take some time. But our immediate requirements are in food supplies, in shelter, in other areas, and we have not quantified. But donations have been coming, and we think that once the routes are opened, we can adequately cover the people who are in dire need. But we appeal to people to keep on supporting us, and the government ministries all mobilize so that we can move.
All right. Now this is the province is facing, and in terms of the infrastructure, the situation is really bad. It has presented some rickety situations, and we have the Minister of Transport and Infrastructural Development, Honorable Bigginot. Honorable Minister, we have seen infrastructure damaged to the greatest extent. How much of a cut-off are we looking at, given that most of the areas are now isolated from this city?
Yes, as the Chairman has alluded to, the first priority is to have access to Chimanimani and Rositu as couple. Copper. We have sat down and analyzed the routes that we think are faster in repairing and will not take long to finish. These are Mutare through Bechnaf Bridge to Waterfalls. Just between Bechnaf and Waterfalls, there is a spongy. The road is spongy. It needs to be repaired, and that's not difficult for us. And Waterfalls to Skyline, there's a sliding, some mud sliding there, which obviously is not going to take us long. And then the between Skyline and Chimanimani itself, there is also some sliding in the Nyawode Bridge, which needs some attention, and the causeway. So we found this one will take us to Chimanimani as the quickest way to open routes for all the services, the help, whatever is required to be delivered. And then the second one that will take us to Sito is from Chata. Between Chata and Machongwe, there's Peacock and Nyawode Bridge. There are minimal damages where we still have to investigate whether they are the approaches or the structure itself that needs to be worked on. But we don't think the structure is damaged. And then from Machongwe to Nyawode Junction, it's clear there. And then from Nyawode Junction to Kopa, there is a Nyabamba Bridge. That we definitely don't think it's harmed, but our engineers are looking at it. And these are the two routes now that we are looking at, that will open up for delivery, for access to any assistance that is required. We have already talked to a contractor, two contractors rather, so that they can quickly go on site. And they are already mobilized. Tomorrow they will be going to site to deal with all the areas where we have just talked about. So we are on track.
Now, Honorable Minister, this cyclone is probably the worst to be witnessed in a decade, judging from the events of Cyclone Idai. And we know that Cyclone Idai left a devastating mark in terms of infrastructure in Zimbabwe. Now, how would you assess the kind of impact that has been recorded in the 3 days that we have witnessed this cyclone?
Well, it was ruthless. I mean, the cyclone was so powerful that it uprooted the actual infrastructure. And the damage we have experienced, I don't think we've experienced any time in memory. This is one of the worst infrastructural damage that we've ever had. But as I said, we're ready. Our local engineers here in the province are up to scratch. And we have mobilized to all our equipment in the nearby provinces are ready to pounce on the province if need be.
So that's the Honorable Minister of Transport, Honorable Joe Bidimantiza, just giving us an update in terms of the kind of damage that we're looking at. The infrastructure has been really devastated to the extent that the roads are impassable. Look at the situation that we are looking at in Malekane province, but there are current rescue efforts that are ongoing, and we actually have the Zimbabwe National Army on ground and the Air Force who are on site just initiating those rescue operations. But these have also been hampered because of the bad weather as the downpours continue in Malekane province. But to give us an update in terms of how these rescue efforts are progressing, we have the Acting Minister of Defense and the retired Air Marshal Perez. Honorable Minister, obviously the kind of situation that we are looking at, the Army on the ground, the Air Force on the ground, but we understand that the situation remains quite tricky for the rescue efforts. What's the update that we can get?
Yes, alluded to by our chairman, the situation is very unfavorable at the moment. There was a lot of distraction brought on the